Hello everybody, Dave here for the next instalment of Dave Gets Word. And I've got a little bit of cleaning up to do. Not that I would normally record me doing any kind of clean up, but just so you know that I am doing clean up as well. I managed to get myself some white spirits, as you can see, and just popping it into glass jar just to clean my brushes. Get the other one as well. And really, I probably should have taken the label off the jar before working it. But yeah, okay, so yeah, giving the brushes a little bit of a clean because they're not cheap and I really should look after them. I tend to, with brushes, I've tended to just think, fuck it, I'll get more. But really I shouldn't do that. It's not good practice and it's basically throwing money away. So yeah, right, today, on today's video, what I'm going to try and do is sort out any repairs on these pieces of wood. Now I've been thinking about how I'm going to go about doing that, and for the most part I'm going to try using wax. Where the veneer is lifted or come off a bit, was broken off, or whichever way I want to sort of look at it. Yeah, anything other than wax, I don't think it'd really work. I was tempted to get sort of like a my glue mixture, glue with wood, and use that. But I don't think it would give me the right consistency or look. So that's why I'm thinking about going with wax. Also, I'm hoping the wax is going to be a little more pliable, a little more usable on the veneers. Regarding everything else, I mean I'm not planning on doing a lot today, because I did do a lot yesterday, and I ended up having a very early night last night. For me, 10 o'clock. That is very early. So I had a very early night, which meant I was up very early. I think I would have been asleep by about 11:30, and I was up at 3:30. So yeah, I have been back to bed since. But yeah, not planning on doing too much today. It's one reason why I want to just kind of give my brushes a bit of a clean and just kind of get tidied up a little bit here today, before I look at doing my repairs. Okay, so what I'm going to need to do is get my wax sticks. Oh, as well as a few bits here I need to put away. So this must be riveting to watch. Interesting, just look. I do have some fine wire in there. Put the gloves in there. I'm going to put the nitro molds in there. Right. Try and get a little closer. And then need to go to my shots. Right, okay, so the big square, if I wanted to, there were a few sort of former holes on there that I could try and remove, but I don't see the point. Interesting. The timbers are marked. The wood, I hope that doesn't mean that one of them is marked. You know what I'm going to get? I was going to see if I've got some spare cloths to put on these, because if the wood is going to start marking my pieces, then I need to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, so I've managed to get myself organised a little bit, and as you can tell, move the camera as well. Right, so a couple of bits to show you. For example there, that's the kind of damage where I was thinking about perhaps trying to put a bit of glue, but I don't think it'd work, like a glue mixture. I am still thinking about putting glue on there though, just to seal it, but I'll think about that while I'm doing any of these minor repairs. Now, like I said, they are sort of minor repairs. I mean, the holes, most of the holes previously have been filled in. But yeah, but I'm just gonna check, and also because I've got different colour front and back, I've got 3 different colours of wax, so I can match up the colours a bit better. So that one will probably be for the darker side, whilst for that lighter side, that one will be more suitable. Now the way that I've done this previously is using a candle, but I've decided I'm going to go with my barbecue lighter, because it's just so much more safer and mobile and easier to use. And I've got a sort of semi kind of plastic card that I'm going to use as my little sort of scraper type thing. So basically all I need to do is sort of crack on really. I hope there's enough gas in this to do that. Now what I'm going to do is just try and squash it in. So I'm squashing it in as I also take it off. I mean, it's possible that what is in these is already a wax, but if it is, it was very old. Could have done my way of I'm going to try something here, and if it backfires, I'm going to fucking ruin the piece. Don't try this at home. Kind of worked, but also kind of didn't. Now once I've finished applying, yeah, that didn't work. My sort of wax repairs here, I am going to need to give these another clean, otherwise where the wax has excessed, any finish is not going to look right. do feel like I'm kind of wasting a bit of wax here, but I mean, this isn't going to make a massive difference to the appearance of the piece. It is only going to be a small sort of difference, but one of the things it will do is it's kind of, I've kind of said before, it's all sort of practice. With using the wax, I've had differing levels of success with it, used in different ways. For example, on the holly sign, I just literally rubbed it into where I wanted to use it. Right, let's see how this is going to go then on this corner. I mean, I have absolutely no idea how well it will work or how bad it will work. It looks like I could do with a bit more going in it actually. Missed. Bugger. Got a bit messy with the excess, like, but if I can. Right, let's see how this is going to go then. So I was quite glad last night and today that I had got all of the chemical work done by yesterday, because it did mean that today I get to have a break from the chemicals, because at the end of the day they are dangerous chemicals, and it's not good to be, well, let's put it this way, you shouldn't really be using them in the area. Oh, snowing. It started snowing earlier, but then fucking stopped. This is not the ideal room to be using chemicals like I was. I mean, really, what I should have done is opened the window all the time that I had the chemicals in use, and for some time after, but a bit difficult when the weather's been as cold as it has. I took precautions wearing a mask, but yeah, definitely, well, I reckon I was still definitely affected by it. Okay, now this is quite difficult to, wow, it really is snowing hard now. It's going to be difficult to get this to look absolutely spot on how I would like, because I haven't got a border to work to, and I'm kind of filling it's not a hole that I'm filling. I was trying to sort of pack it with my finger. Let's see if I can. I've sort of created a little bit of a hole in there now. See if I can get the wax to Drop right in there, exactly like that. It really is coming down quite big. Got sort of up to inch size flakes by the looks of it, which is nice. I mean, it started, like I said, it started snowing earlier, and it was actually settling. And I was thinking if it was to start snowing a little bit harder, it would stick, because it was sort of sticking for a few minutes, or at least it wasn't melting away straight away. But then it stopped. A little while after that, it kind of looked a little bit like it might have been raining, and if it has, then it ain't gonna stick. Not unless it gets really cold out there and snows much heavier than it already is. Okay, what I need to do here is really sort of work this in, but it's not easy to do because I want to sort of scrape any excess off, but by doing that I could just take off all of the wax that I've put on there, which I just very nearly did. Okay, we'll give that a few moments to harden, and we can come back to that bit. I don't think this is the best of cards to be using. Okay, so I don't think there was any other bits on this particular piece that I needed to do, so let's pop that to one side for now, and we can have a look what we got on the next one. Is this one of the shelves? Yes, that's a shelf. Okay, so there's nothing on the top, there's nothing on the front. On the underneath, there are some holes here, but well, these holes, they shouldn't be there. Yeah, there's nothing that goes in the middle, so I think there's holes there as well. Okay, so there's a few holes here that we can fill these a bit. You may have preferred Sheffield United doing beaten again. Now, one of the things I am pleased about with working with the wax is that I do now know from experience to clean the piece up properly afterwards. We're running a bit low on gas in this, but I have got gas. So hopefully I can top it up a bit. Be careful with this wax, it looks like chocolate once it's melted. Okay, it doesn't look like the snow's sticking. Yeah. Right. Let's see if it'll. Well, there is a fill gauge. Okay. done and out the way. Right. Okay, this one. I'm going to do one at a time here, just so I can try and make sure that I do get the hole filled, because it looks like these holes are a little bit deep. Let's build some. Yeah, so these are all going to need, but what I'm going to do is I'll give it a bit of a sanding, very light sanding, then give them a wipe down with the white spirits, and then hopefully they'll be ready for finishing. Okay, there's a corner there, but there's not a lot I can do with that. Okay, there's a few on there. Yeah, so with this corner there, it's so small that I can't really, and same on the other side, it's such a small area that I don't think I can do anything with it. You know what? I've used a lighter wax on the darker pieces, you knobhead. Although to be fair, colour-wise actually looks about right. Well, we'll have to keep going with it. A couple of pre-filled holes here. Not a lot in it, but now, I know I said there's not a lot in it, but the reason I've added a bit of the wax is because of the colour difference of what's there already. I've worked it too much and pulled it out. Well done, dipshit. So turn this over because we've got 4 here. And this is where, yeah, I pulled up a little, there's 2 sort of strips that I pulled up. As soon as it was still soft, and it's quite a long one. Get a bit in there. There's a lot more wastage than I would like with this wax. I suppose really I should sort of collect it all up or something, but a bit late now. Okay, let's get oh, snow's coming down heavy again. It's not been sticking, but working to the gaps, my friend. Okay, that's pretty good. So that's that one. To one side. Let's see what we got on the next one then. Nothing on the top, nothing on the front. On the underneath, there's those little holes again, okay? Okay. I've taken a bit of a gamble by going for doing all of them at the same time. This is quite much more calming this than working with the chemicals or with the power tools as well, to be honest. But I mean, it is still a little physical, but was thinking as well that I think today is the first time I've actually seen it snow for a number of years, because whenever it's snowed in the last few years, I've tended to be asleep. Not that it's ever really snowed heavy, but I've got a feeling though this year, well, it's been a long time I think since we've had snow, sort of end of December, beginning of January. It's usually February, March time we've been having it recently, but I think we're in for a very cold, potentially very icy winter for 2021. And I'm not just saying that randomly. Look over the last few years. I mean, okay, so as an example, if you have really hot weather here in the UK, it tends to be followed by a massive fucking thunderstorm, by a massive storm, because that's how weather works. You have really hot, high pressure, that moves and it creates low pressure, you get weather. So when was it, 2016? Whenever it was that England did really well in the World Cup, was it, no, the Euros, it might have been, whichever, no, it was the World Cup, so it'd be 2018, I think, I don't know, I can't fucking remember. But anyway, that summer was ridiculously hot. It was the hottest summer we've had for donkey's years. And what was that followed by? A fairly wet winter, which was then followed by a wet summer, and then a really wet winter with loads of fucking flooding, which was then followed by a nothing summer, hardly any decent weather, into what I think is now going to be a cold winter. So it's been wet for the last few years, so I think this one's going to be a cold one. Oh. Right, does this one need anything on the top? Nope. Front? Nope. Underside? Yes, we've got those holes. Now I know it looks like there's some marks on this. There kind of is, but it's just dirty marks from the wood, I believe. So hopefully when I give these a light sanding and a touch of white spirits, it'll look a lot better. I will say I'm not planning on trying to get any varnishing done today, mainly because I don't want to, but also I kind of want, I just want to let all this wax settle, dry. I mean, it dries very quickly, but I want it to basically all be finished and have had plenty of time to dry and to go off. And also, I don't want to rush putting the varnish on, and I need to make sure that all of the wax that I've put on isn't going to be creating any abnormalities with the finish. So I need to make sure that where the excess has been is clean. And I do need to go back to that first one where that corner was worked on and see how that is looking. And what was it? Well, I don't know why I start sentences like that. Interestingly, or what I will say is, I kind of can't understand why Martin would thought this was basically just scrap and chuck it in a bin. Unless he was just saying that to tempt me into fixing it. Which, if that was the case, that was a dirty trick. I mean, to be fair, I'd have kept this for myself if Angela didn't want it back, because it's a solid little bookshelf. And I found it extremely useful having it in here for my bits and pieces. And basically what I've been doing is, when I've been working on something, I tend to keep the majority of the stuff that I'm going to need. So like the varnishes, the finishes, the chemicals are on the shelf, rather than me having to go in and out of the toolbox all the time. Okay, so that's all those holes filled. So let's go back to that first one and see how that's looking. Yeah, so it's settled and dried up a bit, which is what I wanted it to do, so that I could then scrape over any excess and we can try refilling it. I'm very good at picking wax up. Let's see if I can another piece of card I can use for some clean. No. Actually, oops. A lollipop stick, or a resin stirrer, as I'm going to call them. Oh, you cocking arse. Literally just pressed it in and just picked it all up. Alright, let's try again. All I'm thinking, I'm just trying to see if I can sort of give it a bit of a natural grain using the lollipop stick, but it's not working. It's just picking up all the fucking resin, not resin, all the wax. It's an interesting situation I'm trying to deal with here, but because it's one of those where the more I try and flatten it, probably the more I'm going to damage it. So I think I'll leave that there to harden a little bit more. Okay, so let's fucking tidy these up a little bit. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break for a few minutes so that I can transfer the video footage. We'll let that dry up a little bit, and when we come back, or on the next video, we can give these a light sand and a clean.